Hi everyone, Gianni DePoce here with you for TheoTRADE, and today is Tuesday, the 29th of October, 2024, and we are on the precipice of a lot of important headlines and events over the next couple of weeks, and I would uh, argue that we're probably in the most elevated period for headline risk in this market all year. And what do I mean by that? Well, we have a few big tech earnings reports in the next couple of days. We have names like Meta, Google, Amazon, and Microsoft all set to report their earnings in the next couple of days. And these are all potential market moving events. There's also this week an inflation report and an employment report that could move the markets and especially bonds. But we also have the presidential election next week. That's going to be a really important mover for the markets. I'm not ruling out that it could turn into a buy the rumor, sell the news event. I've been talking about for weeks how my model is looking for a temporary top of significance around the election. It doesn't have to be the week of, maybe the week after, but we're looking for a high sometime at or after the election. And then next Thursday, I know it's kind of getting lost in all the information overload that we're in right now. The Fed is set to cut interest rates probably another 0.25% again. So this could be a really volatile, wide trading range market in the next week or two. And all I got to say is you better know where your risks lie and follow them closely. But the posturing of this market right now, the way it's shaping up, continues to be very bullish. Right now, the S&P 500 futures are pretty much at the highs of the day. You take a look at the intraday price action. We had a little bit of selling to start today, but it's been straight up since then. Obviously, we got about an hour until we close, but I am most encouraged with what I'm seeing in the Nasdaq. Now, to be clear, when we look at the Nasdaq futures, it's the top 100 stocks in the Nasdaq, that futures index. There's a difference between the Nasdaq 100 index and the Nasdaq Composite Index. The Nasdaq Composite Index hit a new all-time high last week. That's something, if you recall, I've been talking about for basically since July because I've been wanting to see the Nasdaq make a new all-time high. Now, we've seen that at the composite level, and that's a good sign because the composite includes more stocks than just the 100 stocks in the Nasdaq 100. That being said, the Nasdaq's biggest stocks are in the Nasdaq 100. So it is important still that we see the Nasdaq 100 make a new all-time high and exceed that peak that we had from July 11th, but we're seeing steps in the right direction. And now you can see here we're near the high of the day. We're seeing leadership from the Nasdaq. We're seeing leadership from the semiconductor sector. The Philadelphia Semiconductor Index up over 2% on the day. Technology, that sector is outperforming. And if you take a look at some of the big tech names, NVIDIA have a long position on that. Apple also has earnings this week. And this one's pressing up against its technical resistance zone here in this nice price pattern. Looks like it wants another leg higher. You take a look at Meta, similar story. This is a position that I have long as well. Amazon also shaping up, looking like it wants higher prices, and so does Microsoft. So everywhere we look, the Magnificent Seven names, these are the market movers. They're shaping up like they want higher prices. And it could be due to the election, it could be due to the inflation report, could be due to earnings, could be due to the Fed rate cut. We don't know. We don't know. All we have are our price studies and risk management. Okay, so it's looking good. I still have that long position in Tesla. We had talked about this. We had a really positive response after earnings like this. We did back up the Cybertruck, I'm calling it, in Tesla. I wrote an article about that at TheoTRADE.com in the Sector Bullseye newsletter. If you haven't signed up for that free newsletter, I highly recommend that you do so. We publish that at least twice a week with some really good information. So I'm looking for Tesla to go back to its former all-time highs here. And you have this nice price pattern that it's trying to break out from. And, this is about 50-60% higher from current prices. So I think there's a lot of legs left in this move for Tesla, and it's probably going to be a good thing for the overall market. But, the Magnificent Seven stocks aren't the only ones moving. If you recall AppLovin, we've been talking about this stock for quite some time. This has been one of the strongest stocks in the market all year. This is actually an AI timing webs trade. We captured profits back at 116. We reduced the position by half, and we're looking to capture all profits if the market allows us to on a move to 190. So it's looking pretty strong on that front as well, seeing a whole handful of names in the tech sector really starting to accelerate to the upside. I'm still a fan of the biotech sector, but I think what we need to see for biotech is bonds bottom. Now you're seeing a little bit of a rally come in here late in the day in bonds. You're seeing longer term bonds outperform to the upside. That's generally a good sign. I do think that interest rates are going to fall into mid to late next year, but going into year end, you might see this market just go sideways. That is, I think interest rates probably aren't going to come down that aggressively into year end, but I think by next year it'll be very clear that the trend in interest rates is lower once again. And why is that? Well, I think crude oil is on the precipice, on the brink of a major breakdown lower. Now, if you want to say this is due to the market discounting or guessing what the outcome of the election might be, fine. However, you are pressing down on this support zone, this $65 to $67 level. That's been a really important level for crude oil going back all the way to 2023 and even into the end of 2021. We've seen this level hold multiple times, but it looks like it might break this time. So I'm actually looking for crude oil to fall as low as $45 to $50. I think that's going to be a major tailwind for the overall economy because it's going to give consumers quite a bit of savings at the gas pump. And what are they going to do? They're going to spend it. This is America. They're going to spend that extra savings on consumer goods. And I think it's going to eventually cause inflation to rally higher. So I am bearish crude oil, and I think it's going to be to the benefit of bonds and ultimately the US dollar and US stocks as well. I do want to take a look at precious metals here because we are seeing gold hit yet another new all-time high. We've been talking about this and how it's the cleanest trend in the market right now. Silver also seeing a nice rally. It had a really nice explosion higher last week. I'm not ruling out silver rallying into the $38, $40 level before the end of the year. We are getting late into some cycles where you might see some profit taking near term in silver, but it's a very bullish market. Our back up the truck name, Agnico Eagle Mines, going back to February, is really close to hitting its upside target where we will want to park the truck if and when it hits 94. That's looking pretty strong. But there's other names in that space doing well. Pan American Silver, Wheaton Precious Metals. These are all names we've called out in the chat room. In the AI timing webs, we have Gatos Silver, which just hit a new all-time high. It's up almost 4%. So this one is looking very strong as well. And I think that there still is upside left in precious metals, and that should be observed and watched carefully. Let's take a look at cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin is, as of this video, within about 100 points of a new all-time high. So we're within spitting distance of its all-time high. We're breaking out from this pattern. This pattern is projecting a rally into the mid $90,000 area. I think Bitcoin's going higher. I think Bitcoin's going to go to 120 at least, and it's going to pull up the rest of the crypto sector with it. Ethereum's up almost 7% on the day, looking very strong. And we also backed up the truck on MicroStrategy. We have a target of 280 on MicroStrategy. Been talking about this name with you for quite some time. Core Scientific also looking strong for a crypto-related play. And then, of course, we have that position in Hut 8 Miners, which has been doing pretty good as well. So all of the risk-on segments of the market, all of the areas of the market that you want to see outperform in order for the bull market to continue are doing exactly that. It's a very good sign. Okay, so I think it's going to continue. And right now, bears do not have the benefit of the doubt. The bulls do. So with interest rates coming down, I think you're going to see liquidity conditions improve. Anytime you're going to get selling, it's going to be slow and drawn out. So in this tape, I think you want to favor the upside. Look for good risk-reward opportunities. I personally won't take on a trade unless I can make $3 for every dollar that I'm risking. So that's pretty much everything that I wanted to cover with you today. Thank you so much for watching. Stay vigilant during this earnings season and this economic data, and of course the presidential election and the Fed rate cuts, all going to be potential market moving events. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the TheoTRADE chat room.